Welcome back to another episode of Milkman Podcast, or whatever it's gonna be called. Uh, yeah, so it's what, June 3rd, and yesterday I went on essentially like a little date with a girl that I've known for 3 years, and I actually had confessed to her a whole week prior to that. Uh, oh my bad, a whole 2 weeks prior to that, and yeah, I built up the courage over the years to do it. 2 years ago, actually no, probably like 3 years ago now. Yeah, I remember we were going somewhere, and she mentioned casually, like at the time I wanted to ask her out, and she was like, I thought even me like asking her out yet, it was still like in the back of my mind, right? She was like, "Oh, I don't see you as charismatic, but I see these other two guys in our social group as really charismatic guys." She didn't say she was like romantically attracted to them or anything, but she just saw them as very charismatic, and I kicked something in me because she didn't see me as a charismatic, but she saw me as like a very knowledgeable, observant, and like guy that would listen. But like obviously, even I will admit, like no, not I will admit, I knew I was a very like shy, antisocial guy. Like the guy I am now is very social. I'm in like leadership positions, financials are better, all that jazz. The guy I was back then, none of that, man. So there's that. And I'm trying to figure out how I could explain this like better. So I'd say like through the 3 years, like she knows me really well. Like unironically, probably one of the few people that knows like the real me. So like if I'm being honest here, I was like very vulnerable this whole entire time when it comes to her. I'm very vulnerable, and we've been roller skating a lot together. I I don't know how to roller skate, bro. She knows how to roller skate, so I was like, okay, between us, you're gonna teach me how to roller skate. So in winter, I could be balling out, and they're gonna be like, damn, who told you roller skate? I'd be like, Sensei taught me how to roller skate type shit, bro. But yeah, that's something I've been trying to pick up on and learn. And yeah, it's like yeah, and the qualities again. She's literally seen the growth, bro. Like the financial. She called it out directly to me. She's like, "Oh, you're like financially responsible. You're responsible in general. When you touch people, it's genuine. There's no like ill intention behind it. You're very emotionally intelligent. Uh, you do these kind of things. You're always in leadership positions." Like she mentioned that specifically. But don't remember, these are things that I wasn't like, doing 2 years ago. So she's noticed the growth. She noticed the growth. And yeah, and then yesterday I was confirming with her. I was like, all right, 2 weeks. I can't wait much longer than that. I liked her. I was like, I see you as more than a friend. I want more, right? And then I asked her, I'm like, all right, 2 weeks have passed. You gotta give me that answer. And she tells me no. She says no, bro. I'm like, oh shit. That was pretty blunt. But then she's like confused about it. She's like, I thought I told you last time. She didn't tell me last time. She was like, I'll think about it, is what she said last time. So then right after I pointed out, she's like, oh, and she starts explaining everything. Then it's like she's like, okay, so I meant to say no, but I did think about it, is what she tells me. And she goes into it more. She's like, she brings out all the qualities. And she goes on to mention like, if she could pick anyone to marry in the world that she could have a happy life with, she would pick me, which was something I didn't expect at all for her to say. And I'm not gonna lie, after she said that, I was left just like confused. Because had she said no, I probably would have just like left it at that. Like, yeah, I would be like, damn, bro, that sucks. But I gotta do what I gotta do. But after she said that, it kind of just like opened up the whole thing where it's just like, man, okay. I don't know how to feel about that. She just told me that she would marry me. But then after she said that, she said, but I can't be with you because I myself can't be with you. And I'm like, damn, bro. So you telling me that you would marry me, but you can't be with me. Why is that? Like, you ain't gonna even give it a shot. And I will say this: she's it's very obvious for me to tell over time, but she's a very conflict avoidant person, right? So like, I'd say that people who are conflict avoidant find safety in like theoretics and hypotheticals, and the marriage frame, like framing it as like the marriage saying like I would marry you, is pretty safe because it allows her to be like vulnerable and fully honest about it, like value wise. So she values me to a point that she would literally marry me. Essentially, if like circumstances for her were different, I guess would be a way to say it. She would marry me if the circumstances were different. And it's like probably the most honest she could be without, getting like super duper vulnerable. And how I felt about that was like kind of hurt a little bit. I wouldn't say hurt actually. I'd say kind of like bummed out. I was like, damn, bro. So the girl, the most beautiful girl in the world, is right here telling me that she would marry me, but she can't marry me due to like some circumstances. And those circumstances, to let me skip ahead, but like basically, yeah, the problem lies entirely on her side, not necessarily what I lacked, I guess. And it's kind of crazy because like late of 2025 and start of 2026 till now, right? I've been making as like a lot of changes in my life and a lot of improvements have occurred. That's how I've all those like sections of my life have grown, right? And like it kind of hurts because I'd be lying if I said I did it all for myself. Part of it was for the ladies, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've dated multiple ladies from 2025 to right now, and that definitely helped with my growth, especially how I approach relationships too. Oh yeah, bro. Something. You actually, I say that, yeah. You've literally seen the last videos, bro. Like, so you know exactly what I'm saying. You know exactly what I'm saying. Those are some like two of those stories. There's like some other girls too, but I won't really get that much into it, man. Into this one, this is like specifically focused on the dream girl, bro. And yeah, man. A best way I could probably think about is like drawing parallels to like the Great Gatsby, man. If you know about Gatsby, if you ever read the book, basically he's like a super duper rich guy and he throws a party, and the main character goes to the party, and he's like, "Damn, Gatsby, you rich as fuck." And he's like, "Yeah, man, but you know what? You're gonna be my best friend now. I'm gonna tell you a little secret. This girl, I really like her, bro. If you could like low key help me get this girl, I will be forever in debt." And then eventually he gets like a whole thing organized in the main character, and he gets I forgot her name. I'll just call her Susie or something. Actually, let me search this up. Let me search this up. What is the name of the girl from Great Gatsby? I have to get this accurate, man. Daisy. Okay. Okay. All right. So the main character gets Daisy to swing by to the location where Gatsby's at, and then there's like the whole confrontation, and then when Gatsby, right? All his life has improved massively since last time he saw Daisy. He used to be a broke boy. Now the Great Gatsby's like the richest guy in the whole city, bro. He is the Great Gatsby. He is the Gatsby, man. And so like, she comes in and Bros is like, I can't see her. I can't see her. And he leaves. All that improvement just for him to basically just like be like, I can't do this anymore. And he just abandons it. I'd say I draw the parallel to the Great Gatsby because I made all these improvements in my life. Yes. They've greatly benefited me, publicity, leadership, all those jazz. But I'd be lying to myself if I said if a part of it wasn't literally for the ladies. But when I say ladies, I honestly specifically mean her to an extent. So yeah. And with all that improvement, bro, she doesn't want me like that, bro. It's like what the fuck? And well, since I met her, I've seen her like date other guys. But like, she would go on to kind of just tell me like when she was dating those guys, it wasn't in a way I thought it was. Like I think one of them only lasted like one day, another one actually now I think they both just lasted one day. So she wasn't even really dating these guys. She was just like having like a one day with them, bro. And it was like the gamer guy. She didn't like him. he smelled bad and kept like telling her what she should do with her life. We were both 18 at the time, and apparently that guy was like 24. Funny story, I was playing Smash Bros. And I was getting my ass beat, so I was like low key locked in, cause my ass is not trying to lose this fucking Smash Bros game, bro. In the fucking hallway, bro. All right, let me calm down. And she touches my shoulder while she's watching me play, and she's like, "Hey, this guy just asked me out. What should I say? Should I say yes or no?" And my dumb ass is like, "Yeah, yeah, just yeah." No, literally, I literally was like, yeah. And she's like, "Oh, okay, okay." And she basically went out that guy, and she never really told me about the date until like literally yesterday. So I mean that was something. And then there was another guy she met on like Tinder or something like that. And we were talking about chemistry, and she literally went over to go do chemistry homework like that ass. And I'm like, oh okay. And apparently like he kissed her, but it didn't sound consensual, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. And I told her that, and she's like, "Are you slut shaming me?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. I don't think that's right." And then I told her you should probably not be dating. That's the case. And ironically, she stopped dating after that. And that was like almost 2 years ago now. So I knew her for 3 years, and that itself, that event with the last guy she dated was 2 years ago. Now, granted, she went to like a different university than I am. We just live close by. So she could have been dating other people, but from what she's told me, it doesn't sound like she was at all. She would update me on her life. So yeah, back to the main point. Like the Great Gatsby theory, like parallels in life, improvement, just like him. The difference is that I confronted Daisy, unlike the Gatsby. Daisy being the dream girl in this situation, and I got rejected. Even with all these improvements in my life, I still got rejected, bro. Not because of what I lack or who I am, but something traumatic in her, past relationships. Uh, she's protecting like in a way I'd like to see is like her trying to protect a version of me, like what she sees in me from a version of herself that she knows exists when it comes to relationships. Like like she wasn't trying to like soften the rejection so much as just being more precise about something that is actually genuinely complicated because because she explained it more. Like it basically was like she would choose me in theory, but she can't step into my life, right? So a way I can better explain that. I also want to mention when she said she'd marry me, she said that 3 times, by the way. So, first time convincing me, second time convincing me, but I feel like the third time she said it, she was like basically trying to convince herself at that point, right? I so she's willing to say I'd marry you multiple times. I think she's being actually genuine when she says that. And I think she's also aware that she did in fact give up a version of herself that did choose me. So she knows what she's giving up in that respect. And she did say I'd be the first choice. Like she's not saying like, oh, you would be a good option for me to be with you. No, she's saying I would be her first choice. Meaning, out of other men that she knows, I would literally be someone that she could see herself with. Well, she would see like realistically people wanting to be with, just not her. You know what I'm saying? And she would go on to talk about like her relationships that she's had in the past, saying that like, oh, when she got into it, she no longer like saw them at like the same like resentment would build. Even if she was the one that wanted the relationship at the start, resentment would still build. And yeah, and it was like she would start prioritizing her friends over the person that she's with, or whatever they truly wanted, she wouldn't be able to give them. And she looked at me and she said, "I know at some point you probably do want children. I wouldn't be able to do that for you," is what she said. She doesn't have issues having kids or anything, but she had like a fear of like giving birth to triplets. But at the same time, she also just doesn't want kids, I guess. Yeah, and it did kind of like tweak me out a little bit because she also kind of low key said that like the only exception she'd have for that rule is if like someone she saw was like had like amazing genetics. Low key that just kind of felt like a little kick to me. Like, bro, yeah, I don't have good genetics or some shit. Fuck you. What the fuck? But like, hey, she said I'm gonna marry you 3 times. That means I don't have to worry about that one too much, at least. But her main fear was that because of like the baggage that she holds from like previous relationships, they all like failed. Like the guys her longest relationship was like 6 months, I think she told me. And then the guy ended up like basically blocking and ghosting her. And then she said I said the same thing he said, in the sense that like you just gotta give it a shot. I would know I wouldn't block you or that. And she's basically seeing that and she's reflecting on the past and be like, no, because to her, I'm basically like remember I'd be the first choice for a guy she would marry. That means she also sees me as like a really 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 good person to have in her life essentially. And she's basically just afraid that she would like maybe like ruin my perception of love. She also doesn't want to like lose me, I guess. So she was just trying to do it the best way she can without like fucking up our friendship in any way. So at least like I can tell like she was very emotionally mature about it. She knows her own pattern well enough to name exactly what the damage would look like if we were to get together. And I'm not gonna lie, I really wanted to be like, yo, just give it a shot, give it a shot. And I'm not going to lie, I actually should have asked her like, hey, can we please go on one date? And her response to that was like, if we were to go on a date, Milkman, I'd have to pretend to be a different self. But then she also would make a comparison that like the times that we'd hang out were basically like dates, but if it was like to be set in like contextually, if it was contextually like both romantic, right? Both viewing it as like a romantic thing rather than just like hanging out, she would put on a mask that isn't her. And I told her like, nah, I like you for you. I mean, like I would rather you just be yourself. And she's like, no, I wouldn't be able to do that if it was like truly like a romantic thing. And it kind of goes back to what she says, I guess, about like her knowing that like the version of herself. She basically like go with the flow and like pretend to be an ideal girlfriend. And I'm not gonna lie, it'd be selfish of me to truly be like, no, I want that. I want you to pretend. It'd be selfish of me to say that. So I'm like, damn, fuck. I'm like, fuck. So this really is just it. This is really just it, man. Yeah. She forced herself for every other guy in her life so far. She's basically forced herself to be nice, to be ideal, but over time she realized that there was like certain traits that she would have, just like growing resentment for that person, likely from forcing herself to be a ideal candidate, right? And you know, after all of that, like low key, eventually, I'm driving her back to her house because I need to get her home before like 10. She doesn't have a curfew. It's just she had like family come over. Her cousins are coming over to watch a movie that she's hosting, so she kind of had to be there. So I'm driving her back. We're actually talking longer. Even if this is like past me asking her out, and we're just low key just getting pretty vulnerable and just talking about like, you know, our love lives, I guess. And low key at some point I'm like, yo, get out of my car. And she stayed in the car and just got deeper into like a more vulnerable topic. So it was very clear that I guess like we were like laughing about other stuff too. Like it's clear that friendship wise, our friendship is very strong. Basically, like I'd say I'm probably like a very good close friend for her because she recently invited me to hang out with her family. I thought she could invite other people, but no, she specifically just invited me. So at least I can see that. Fuck man, but like I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little sad that I did kind of want more, and that's the thing too. She very much was like, I know you're gonna want more at some point. And that's why, I'm scared of that you would want more and I wouldn't be able to give it to you, but no, provide that for you. And truth be told, honestly, if I said, oh no, what we have right now is perfect, that would be a half truth. What we had going on already, like, going roller skating and whatnot already, it was pretty fun. I like that. I hope we can still do that after this. Probably just gonna give it some distance. I'll keep it like baseline level interaction, you know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, that was fine. That was all good and dandy. But like, no, stayed at that point. So on one hand, yeah, the friendship is likely going to survive. It's gonna be fine. But like, once I ask her out, it's not like I can just ask her out again. Like, especially after she gave me like a whole explanation for everything too. So yeah, I tell her to get out of my car. She stays. Keep going deeper into conversation. She's supposed to be in her house at like 10. We're in my car till like 10:40, bro. I tell her like, you want to get out of my car at like 10 o'clock. She's still staying, bro. So that was someone that didn't want the night to just end either. And so yeah, the friendship. Yeah, fuck. I just repeated this like 4 times, but yeah, friendship will stay. And she told me a lot of things too that she didn't even have to tell me, but she still told me. Like, and I do view it as like honesty sometimes itself can be a form of intimacy. And she couldn't offer like romantically, but she still wanted to give me that bit of information, right? So there's that too, and there's not really much to really update on. There's some more details, but it's kind of more personal for her end. Low-key, I kind of shared a lot. I'm not gonna lie, bro. But like, she's never gonna see this video. That's for damn sure, bro. I'm gonna make sure she never sees this video, bro. I'm gonna make sure she never sees this, bro. But I will say this for those listening: take these words to heart. These are lessons I learned. I wrote them down, so I'm just gonna read them off. Non-neediness is the most attractive quality a man can possess. It cannot be performed. It has to be real. But it's basically outcome independence. At the end of the day, you just kind of have to accept what it is, bro, and just move on. A guy that's gonna be like, yo, man, it's brutal. All right, I understand. I'm good. There's likely to be more. I won't lie. I felt like I was pretty needy during that. I could have probably been less needy. So yeah. Number 2, you cannot convince a woman to feel what she doesn't feel, bro. You can only show up authentically as yourself and see how she responds to that. You just always gotta be authentic, bro. You shouldn't put on a persona. You should never. At the end of the day, if you put on a persona, you're gonna have to always put on that persona, because that's what she's gonna be into, man. So be yourself and hope she falls in love with you. And turns out, it looks like she would get married to essentially me, which is good to know. I mean, that's the confusing part on that. I know I'm on number 2, but like, yeah, that's the part that's really getting me the most. It's like, damn, bro, she wanted to marry me, but because of her circumstances in her life, and I mean, valid. I can't lie. She basically just told me that if we were to get together, long term, it just wouldn't go my way. She wouldn't want to have kids. She wouldn't want to like escalate any form of intimacy past a certain point. She also would tell me like, the resentment would likely build if she felt the need to start putting on persona. And I told her she wouldn't have to, but she said that I can think that, but she herself would do it like just on her own type of thing. So it'd be something that she would just do. And all right, number 3. When you try to change her mind, you reveal that her opinion of you matters more than your own. So it kind of goes back to number 1. If you're basically just constantly like trying to be like, oh no, please reconsider, it's gonna show that I'm more needy. Which, me probably asking for her to just like, take a chance on it, basically is likely kind of fall under that. So that's a mistake I made there. Don't do that. And number 4, rejection doesn't always mean you're not enough. It means this particular person just isn't the right fit at this particular time. Things can change. Maybe she might, want to pursue things with me in the future, but I shouldn't hope for that. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, I should hope that I meet someone else, at a different time. And number 5, I'll leave it here for now. The goal is not to avoid rejection, but the goal is actually to act through it. Rejection, failure, all it's going to do is just gonna, put you down. But what you really get from it is when you get back up. So the point is, you need to go through it in order to get back stronger. It is what makes us better. And you know what? Fuck it. We're going for number 6. Beautiful women are not rare. Women with real character loyalty, and emotional intelligence are. I know I just wrote that realizing that the dream girl literally has all these, bro. Because like I think other one would probably say no and then be like, I don't know. I don't know why I said that. Meanwhile, the girl from yesterday literally explained in great detail why exactly it was with actual character. You know, our friendship is still there, so there's loyalty and emotional intelligence to be able to explain that she has her own patterns that she recognizes, then feels as if she doesn't want to hurt me. So yeah. Fudge monkey. She let me down, but she was honest about it, man. It sucks to suck, but well, I guess I don't suck at all. Well, but it just sucks that I couldn't get the girl I really wanted like that. And it's just good to be able to talk about it, get off my chest. Because at the same time, I know that yeah, even though she said no, all these improvements in my life, I'm not gonna just like suddenly be like, okay, I give up. I'm gonna keep moving forward, bro. I'm gonna keep getting better at storyteller. I'm gonna keep expanding my network. I'm gonna keep talking to people, networking, getting better opportunities, getting my bread up more, all that stuff. I'm gonna keep doing that to the best of my ability. Am I a rich guy? Fuck no. Low key, I'm kind of broke right now. But I'm gonna keep it moving, bro. Keep it a stack, man. Keep it a stack. I can't just give up. I can't give up, bro. So yeah, I thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you're having a great day. And just figured I'd give a little mistake. Maybe I'll name this episode the Gatsby Theory. Yeah, I think I like that idea, the Gatsby Theory. We'll do that. All right, Fruitals.